Guccio Gucci founded the famous fashion house in Florence, Italy, in 1921. As we know, before starting his namesake label, Guccio worked as a porter at the Savoy Hotel in London. Inspired by ritzy hotel guests, he returned home to work for a luggage company, Franzi, and took up leather craftsmanship before launching his own business. At launch, Gucci primarily sold leather goods and focused on travel items, but later branched out into equestrian equipment as word of the brand reached the ears and wallets of British aristocrats. Eventually, Guccio's sons, Aldo, Vasco, and Rodolfo, began working for the company, and its reputation continued to grow. However, according to Women's Wear Daily, it hit a snag in 1935. There was a League of Nations embargo against Italy, and with leather in short supply, the brand was forced to use different materials. A specially woven canapa, or hemp, was created, and Gucci's now famous interlocking diamond symbol was printed on top. As WWD noted, once leather production began picking up following the end of World War II, Aldo created the brand's first pigskin bag. The material became the fashion house's signature. Gucci's first bamboo-handled bag, in the shape of a saddle, is also thought to have been created around the same time. By 1951, Gucci had embraced its famous green-red-green striped detail. The 50s were also a great time for the expansion of Gucci's stores. While there were already locations in Florence and Rome, Rodolfo opened another in Milan in 1951 before expanding to the US in 1953. Shortly before Guccio's death that same year, a Gucci store opened at the Savoy Plaza Hotel in New York City, as a tribute to his time as a porter. In the years following Guccio's death, the brand continued to see success thanks to his sons. Celebrities like Elizabeth Taylor were photographed carrying bamboo-handled bags, and the horsebit loafer, with its iconic double ring and bar, was released in 1953. In 1961, after Jacqueline Kennedy was spotted carrying a Gucci bag, the fashion house renamed it the Jackie. Around the same time, it created a logo, initially used to fasten bags, that is still used today, the famous double G. Grace Kelly influenced Gucci's designs, as well. Let's talk about it. Like many of the venerable European luxury brands, Gucci's motifs were once strictly aligned with aristocratic activities, such as equestrian sports and hunting. That all changed in 1966, when Princess Grace of Monaco entered its flagship store in Milan, drawing a crowd of course, and purchased a green leather purse. When Rodolfo Gucci, Guccio Gucci's son, learned of this, he offered her a gift to thank her for her support. Modestly, she requested a scarf, but Gucci felt that it didn't have anything befitting of royalty. Princess Grace was known to be a flower aficionado, who founded the Garden Club of Monaco and pressed her own flowers as artwork. And so, Gucci commissioned illustrator Vittorio Accornero de Testa to design a unique floral printed scarf for the princess. Accornero de Testa was familiar with princesses, having spent a large part of his career illustrating children's books of fairy tales. He had an eye for the fantastical, having also worked as a set designer on Broadway in New York and in the movies, before returning to his native Italy. He was also known for his beautiful and intricate botanical illustrations and watercolor paintings, especially of flowers. The result of Gucci's commission was Flora, a floral pattern on a white background, which included 37 vibrant colors and a wide array of flora and fauna, including butterflies and beetles, sprinkled over the silk square. The 9 flowers depicted are lilies, ivy, poppies, cornflowers, daffodils, ranunculus, anemones, tulips and irises. The name was a tribute to the origins of the fashion house in the city of Florence, as well as to La Primavera and the Birth of Venus by Sandro Botticelli. In both paintings, the nymph Flora wears a dress adorned with flowers. Gucci presented the enchanting and elegant scarf to the princess as if giving her a bouquet. The scarf became very popular and is still sought after by collectors today. The relationship with Gucci continued until the threshold of the artist's death, in recognition of his creative contribution, destined to irrevocably mark the look of the company. In 1981, Gucci named him Gucci Knight of Labor, dedicating him a cup celebrating his long collaboration. Accornero de Testa became Gucci's top textile designer and went on to contribute at least 77 more prints to the fashion house. The Flora motif went beyond scarves in 1969, with a floral mini dress. Flora was revived in 2005 by then creative director Frida Giannini, who incorporated it into a line of bags and Gucci's ready-to-wear. During her tenure, Giannini ensured that the Flora print was present almost everywhere, from emphasizing the print in the 2013 cruise collection to reinventing it as a fragrance. 47 years after Kelly wore the scarf, her granddaughter, Charlotte Casiroghi, was featured in a 2014 Gucci ad campaign wearing the print. Flora was destined to become a cult of fashion, an object of desire for generations of women. The design of him would have been taken years later by Gucci, by now passed under the control of the Pinot Group. And still today it is found applied to bags, shoes, jewelry and clothes. But above all, the mythical design created for Grace Kelly was to mark a turning point in the production of scarves. Throughout the 60s and 70s, Gucci scarves represented the discreet charm of the classic of clothing, and thanks to Accornero's work that introduces the concept of seasonality in decorative motifs, fully entered the fashion circuit. More Gucci stores popped up in the 1970s, selling clothing in Tokyo, Hong Kong, and an additional location in New York City. In 1975, Gucci entered the beauty space with their debut fragrance, Gucci No. 1. In 1981, Gucci held its first ready-to-wear fashion show. The collection focused heavily on the Flora pattern and took place at the Sala Bianca, Palazzo Pitti in Florence, Italy. For the next few decades, Gucci underwent several major changes, and some drama. Guccio's grandchildren were working at the company by the early 80s, and the family was feuding about who would be in control. Eventually, Rodolfo's son, Maurizio, took over, pushing his cousins and Uncle Aldo out of the company. But that's another story. Subscribe to hear more.